Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go! Well, first of all guys, I want to put political news ahead because those are really important. Donald Trump spoke with Putin. At first the article was posted on New York Post, but this information is actually correct. And unfortunately guys, it doesn't mean anything good for Ukraine. The talk between Donald Trump and Putin happened on board of the Air Force One. It's the old photo from the previous Trump's term. Yeah, sorry guys, I have some throat pain, so do not pay attention on my voice. Donald Trump says that Putin wants to see people stop dying. So in a way, Trump says that Putin wants to stop the war. Every day people are zeroed, this war is so bad in Ukraine, I want to end this damn thing. And later on Donald Trump were asked of how many times they spoke already with Putin, and Trump answered better not say it. So maybe it was not just a single talk between Trump and Putin. I always had a good relationship with Putin, Trump said. So why the situation is not good for Ukraine, and I would say for United States as well? Well, the reason is that Donald Trump spoke with Putin at first, before Zelensky. Yeah, you may say, Dennis, Zelensky met with Trump 2 of the times, once in the United States of America and the next time in Paris. However, guys, by the time Trump was not inaugurated, and it's complete difference. So officially he wasn't the president of the United States, but now legally he spoke with Putin as the current United States president, which basically shows the priority of Donald Trump. Based on the remarks and influence of Donald Trump's team, I think that Donald Trump is not okay with Zelensky as with president or as with a person. For this reason, we heard from Keith Kellogg that Ukraine should conduct elections. And also, you know, Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, I guess they also hate Ukrainian government, not just Zelensky. And maybe they also hate Ukraine itself. And some other teammates of Donald Trump, like for example Mike Waltz, who is a new Sullivan, let's say, he's a national security advisor of the White House, he already stated that the war should be over very, very soon. And they're gonna work in it, plus they speak about some sort of the guarantees provided for Ukraine, but as exchange Ukraine should pay back with its natural resources. Donald Trump bets for this deal $500 million, which is actually nothing. It's like the size of the usual regular military package for Ukraine. Lots of those packages were coming to Ukraine under the previous White House administration. So before we heard that Donald Trump wanted to apply some of the sanctions on Russia, extra sanctions. Even Mr. Kellogg said that the current sanctions applied on Russia from the scale 0 to 10 are roughly 3. With all of that information, it's hard to define really the United States policy towards the war in Ukraine. They understand like it should be stopped, but Donald Trump potentially may choose 2 of the directions, to push Russia hard or to push Ukraine hard. For Ukraine, it is very easy to achieve because Ukraine is really dependent on the United States of America. So this talk between Donald Trump and Putin shows me the possible scenario that the United States will abandon Ukraine and will put all of the responsibility for the future of the conflict on Europe. So Trump says about some sort of the security guarantees based on the Ukrainian natural resources. However, at the same time, Waltz says that Trump wants to leave Ukraine's security guarantees to Europe. Europe alone will not handle it. First of all, from the military perspective, well, we heard already the rumors about the deployment of the peacekeepers from UK and France to Ukraine. But to deploy peacekeepers in Ukraine, they should protect this entire region together with border with Belarus, because Russia already attacked Ukraine from the Belarus side. So this, or maybe this, it's better to say, they should protect. Yeah, not this small side and not this one, entire country border or the border with the occupied territories. But as we may see, Putin is not willing to stop, so he attacks again and again. So France and England together say that they are capable to deploy up to 50,000 soldiers, or peacekeepers it's better to call them, but it is not even nearly enough to support that peacekeeping mission. The number should be at least 200,000 peacekeepers, but those will never be sent to Ukraine, as we understand. So Russia will not be held, so it's not the robust security guarantee after all. But what we see, my friends, on the front lines is the total kaput of the Russian army vehicles. Russian army is definitely struggling. They have the crisis with the armored vehicles and also soldiers. You may say that Russia always has this terrible attitude towards their own soldiers, sending those to the meat attacks. Yeah, I would agree with that, but sending wounded personnel like Crunch Battalion, I call those, it's one-way ticket with a known destiny. It's too much even for the Russian army. Moles on the front lines, North Koreans deployed. Putin's regime does those crazy steps not because it likes to do those, but because it is forced to do those. So we are witnessing how Russia is reaching its maximum military potential in Ukraine. Before they attacked quite well, like 2 months ago, but now they slow down gradually, and Ukraine sometimes takes the ground with the counterattacks. For example, we have the update from the course direction where Ukrainian army confirmed to enter Fansivka. We have the visual confirmation of it. Plus, you already know what happened in Pakrovsk. There Ukraine also strikes hard. So with enough military support and with all of the reforms conducted in Ukrainian army, Ukraine has all of the capabilities to change the situation on the front lines and to take initiative. And unfortunately, right now I see just foggy perspectives for Ukraine to receive enough military support from the United States. It's the main ally of Ukraine if we speak about the military help. So if you want to hear my personal opinion, I don't think that Donald Trump will push Russia hard. He would take a much easier step to push a victim, cutting military support and leaving Ukraine again for Europe. So he would try to resolve the problem in that way, that's what I think, and if it doesn't help to achieve some sort of the peace in Ukraine, Trump will just abandon this idea. So there will be less talks about Ukraine in media, because Donald Trump, with his PR, with his style, he always reaches for the fast blitzkrieg solutions. Like for example it was with North Korea, talks just for talks. They changed nothing, and after a while everyone forgot about North Korea. And actually it was diplomatic fiasco of the White House administration by the time. Because Donald Trump proposed some of the economical benefits to North Korea, but Kim Jong-un, he doesn't need it. Donald Trump said like, you'll have the best investors in your country, you'll produce many of the goods, your people will live much better. But for dictators, people shouldn't live freely and in prosperity, because it is much harder to control those in that case. Well, with the Putin's regime it's a little different, because they have oligarchs, Russian elite, which is suffering under sanctions and under Ukrainian drone sanctions too. So I would say maybe for Putin it's even profitable right now to freeze the war. You know, if the war is frozen with a ceasefire and if there are no any security guarantees for Ukraine, Putin might reform his suffering army. Russia will not finish to produce their military equipment, no, and in a few years they'll calculate all of the mistakes and attack Ukraine once again. And Ukraine will not be even in the news before the attack, because everyone would forget about Ukraine. Ceasefire would be accepted as some sort of the long-lasting peace, as it was under the Minsk agreement before. So unfortunately, guys, with the current White House administration, I don't see good perspectives for Ukraine. But again, I could be wrong, it's just my personal opinion. One more remark, I don't think that Donald Trump now currently has a peace plan over Ukraine. I think that he is searching for the possible solution. As I say to you, there are two of the variants: to abandon Ukraine and stop the military support, or to press Russia hard. And if Donald Trump decides to press Ukraine, not Russia, well, in that case circumstances could be very bad. Not just for Ukraine, but for the global democracy.
Currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
Wow, yeah. He did that well. That's a voice. Make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go.
That's the victory of Donald Trump, like useless renaming of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. It's the tremendous achievement that was PR'd elsewhere. He did it, he is victorious, but with Ukraine everything is different. It is a very, very complicated conflict. Actually a war, because some people hate that I say conflict, but actually military conflict itself is a war. It's just one of those terms. I do not say problem of Ukraine as, for example, Pope Francis says. So again, there is the tiny little chance that Donald Trump would choose the way to press Russia hard, because that requires lots of the efforts, lots of the time and resources. The sad thing that now it's the golden time for Ukraine to press Russia on the front lines to receive enough weaponry. And Ukraine also needs to provide the reforms in its army, because Ukrainian army is also exhausted, and without the military support from the United States, it will be exhausted even more, which will allow Russia to take more territories. Based on Putin's rhetorics, it's understandable that Putin supported Donald Trump in the last elections, basically because of two main things. First of all, Donald Trump may disturb the relations between allies, and we see already how it is happening, like the tariffs which Trump at first introduced against Mexico, Canada, but later on postponed them for 1 month. Also, we see imperialistic ambitions of Donald Trump and how he wants to join Canada to United States, annexing the territory, join Greenland, maybe even using military force, and Panama. Yeah, Panama Channel to be more precisely. There are also some talks about deportation of the Gaza people from their Gaza land and provide United States ownership on Gaza Strip. So everything of that is actually very bad for democracy, for allies. Also, Donald Trump disturbs the United States from inside by canceling lots of the important programs, like for example USAID, which was used as a soft force elsewhere. For now we hear mostly accusations of Elon Musk towards USAID, but again he doesn't provide any sort of the evidence of the corruption in that organization. No official documents were shared by Elon Musk. All of his posts like "Trust me bro, they're bad." And the second reason is Donald Trump may cancel the military support for Ukraine or restrict it, because he wants to finish this war kind of fast, and how it finishes for Ukraine, I think Donald Trump doesn't really care. So Putin wants to introduce his conditions into the peace deal. He is speaking about Donetsk Oblast, Kherson region, Zaporizhia, full Lugansk Oblast, and somehow Russian forces are being deployed in Kharkiv Oblast as well. But actually, as I've told you many of the times, the aim for the Russian army or Russian Federation is to occupy Ukraine fully, also together with other ex-Soviet republics. And Europe, well, let me show you the capital city of Hungary, Budapest, and it happened on the 8th of February. Haha, well, that is definitely crazy. They're wearing some sort of the Nazi uniform, SS for this guy. Capital city, Budapest, lots of the people, neo-Nazis, gathered for some sort of the clown parade there. Crazy. And you're saying that there are Nazis in Ukraine. The Nazis are actually elsewhere. You may perform denazification in every of the country, also United States of America. But it's not the population majority, we understand that. It's the outcast, outlaws and stupid clowns. But in Hungary, why the police was silent, I'm out of clue. Most of those people were hiding their faces behind the masks, but some were open. Like for example this guy, he'll smile to the screen. I hope he'll be popular out there and he'll never receive a good paid job. However, maybe under current Orban's administration, they like those guys. And yeah, he looks like the member of the Russian infantry. He even has a tourniquet, Wagner sign on the helmet, Russian flag with Wagner. So he is ready to go to the front lines. What is he doing in Budapest? As I say to you, this guy is clown as well as others who gathered there. But we understand that Europe is now leaning to the right side quite significantly. Almost in every country of Europe you see that stuff, and in the future, like nearby future, there could be many more Orbans or Ficos who are against military support of Ukraine and who are openly pro-Russian. And just imagine stuff like that happening in Ukraine, for example. What would Russian propaganda do in this case? What would they say? And yeah, for me it's kind of funny to see those clowns there. For example, this guy is wearing the uniform of Bundeswehr, fully equipped with everything, probably except weapons, so he is ready or getting ready for what? Like, what he wants to show. As for the strike ball fight or reconstruction theater fight, that will do, but here looks like nonsense for me. And the fact that they were not kicked out by Hungarian police tells a lot. For example, in Ukraine, if you demonstrate those kind of the flags, you could be jailed even. And Russia tells about the Nazification of Ukraine, but at the same time Russia has more Nazis in its population. And neo-Nazis staying with the Russian symbols, well, it tells a lot. Some other clowns, this time from the United States of America, also somehow ashamed of their white faces, covering them with the scarves. So yeah guys, unfortunately you may find those kind of the retards everywhere. But the thing is that they feel more comfortable under the current White House administration or under Orban's regime. And again, Elon Musk says about shutting down the media, which is very important for counter-propaganda against the Russian propaganda, like for example Voice of America or Radio Liberty, which works in Europe and also provides the signal for Ukrainian and the Russian audience, sharing kind of the useful information. I also use those sources in my analysis. So Elon says shut them down. He does with the United States what he did with Twitter before. He just cuts everything off, and by doing so he weakens the United States of America. The country is now declining in political way, in diplomatic way, and soon it's gonna reach even economy. So for me guys, it's very sad to see of what is happening to the United States of America, which was before at the top of the democracy values. But now with this pure liar who was not even elected, United States is going down. Ahead of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen also stated that there is uncertainty in relations between United States and European Union. She also stated that it's the time for Europe to take security in its own hands fully. So you see, even Europe is concerned about the possible, maybe military conflict between European Union countries and Russia, which actually might happen if Russia reforms its army. But for that, Russia needs a break for several years. Well, if the Russian regime stays the same, I'm not speaking just about Putin, but FSB circle, it is possible. And let's finish this video from the positive news. Here you see how the Baltic countries disconnect from the Russian energy supplies. So now they have the other source for the electrical power. It happened, by the way, in Estonia, but power was supplied to Lithuania and Latvia as well. For democracy and for the Western civilization to win, Russia should be absolutely isolated till the moment they change their regime. About the peace talks between Ukraine and Russia, well, actually they could be, but the result isn't possible to achieve in this huge war. Some side should lose, Ukraine or Russia. Some of the experts also from the West saying that for Russia it's impossible to lose, but again, look at the Soviet Union, which had better military and better economy. Where is it now? No one knows. And again guys, sorry about my voice, I just cannot continue any longer. Tomorrow I'm gonna film one more video for you, and there will be front lines updates and many more big news. Here I think it was the important topic to speak about the politics, because it influences Ukraine and the future of the war a lot. As always, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time. By the way, my friends, if you want to support the job that I do here on YouTube, you are welcome to my Patreon. I'll put the link for my Patreon page right in the video description below. Thank you so much for supporting my motivation.